Alexa, has someone invented the time machine yet?
Yes, there are 2 time machines available on Amazon. Would you like to order one?
Yes, buy 2 of them, ASAP.
Yo, get the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.
Well, this one is too small and uses plutonium batteries, not included. The other is also very small, but is actually bigger on the inside. It is still too small for me, but it is perfect to send a small book. Help me write this 5-chapter book and send it back to 1997. This is the tool that will help my 7-year-old self quickly correct the worst swimming mistakes. It has to be clear, entertaining, and help him at every stage. Hello, me. This is you from the future. I wrote this book to help you become one of the best swimmers in the world by the year 2016. This will help you avoid years of frustration and mistakes that you will do in your swimming career. Right now, you are learning an important skill, bubbling, but you are doing it wrong. This is why you feel out of breath. This is where all your swimming problems begin. When you turn 17, you will compete for the first time in the USA. It is a small local Texas competition. By this point, you have been the fastest backstroker of your city for about a couple of years. So you showed up with a bit of arrogance. You swim the 200 backstroke, and someone your age, your same height, and your same skinny build will swim 8 seconds faster than you. You will question everything. How is this possible? How can someone be that much faster? Sure, you have seen people on TV swim faster, but they are usually taller, older, stronger, and, well, they're on TV. After analyzing the video, you notice something very strange. He is underwater most of the race. You did not spend most of the time underwater. On the last turn, you immediately push off the wall and gasp for air on the first stroke. You look desperate for air. Next time in practice, you try and fail. You run out of breath. You think, how can someone remain underwater for so long swimming that fast? It feels deeply impossible. You stop trying. 3 years later, in college, you will be swimming the 200 freestyle and you will be in first place with only 10 meters to go. Then your arms start spinning too much. You are running out of air, so you stop moving fast. Now everyone is swimming faster than you. You finish 5th. Devastated. You blame it on your arms, but the problem wasn't your arms. It was the way you were breathing from the very first swim lesson. While bubbling, they told you to take a deep breath and as soon as your face is underwater, to blow all the air quickly. You were essentially hyperventilating. This is not only dangerous, but counterproductive. It is very bad advice if you want to learn to swim better. Then, when you start swimming, they told you to hold your breath for as long as you can until you need a breath. This is also bad. As you grow older, they told you to breathe every 3 or 4 strokes. That's a mistake too. Breath control is the most essential swimming skill. From day one, you started doing it wrong. Eventually, you start developing CO2 tolerance. But just when you start making real progress, you are hit with a scary myth. They say holding your breath causes brain damage. This is not true. At the very least, it hasn't been proven, and there has been many studies. Our bodies have 3 systems to prevent us from causing brain damage. They work every time unless you make 3 critical mistakes. In 2003, someone almost died in your swim team because he made the 3 mistakes at the same time. Number 1, he hyperventilated before holding his breath. Number 2, he held his breath for as long as he could while being 1.5 meters underwater. And 3, he had no professional supervision. After swimming 75 meters underwater, he fainted. Fortunately, someone got him out quickly enough. They saved him before he caused brain damage. Don't ever make those 3 mistakes, and don't let your teammates do that. This event and all the other bad advice will prevent you from swimming faster in the future. The good news is that you will develop a lot of curiosity around this subject. You will even study ancient and modern breathing techniques and use them in the pool. The bad news is that by the time you understand how breathing really works and how to do breathing exercises safely, it would have been 10 years after you retire from competitive swimming. You made a full course on breathing, but it doesn't fit in this book. So remember this. Breathe less air more often. Don't breathe every 3 or 4 strokes in a swimming competition. Breathe every 2 strokes. This is the way. I know, you don't believe me. If this is the way, why do so many coaches tell you to breathe less? Breathing every 3, 5, or even 12 strokes is a very useful exercise during practice, not during competition. Watch the next Olympics. Everyone from the 100 to the 1500 breathe every 2 strokes. Even the triathletes and the marathon swimmers breathe every 2 strokes almost always. Breaststrokers breathe every stroke, of course. Butterfly swimmers breathe every 2 or every stroke. It's hard to tell with backstroke swimmers, but they also breathe every 2 strokes. There are several good reasons and also some bad reasons to breathe less often. The main reason is that people spend too much time taking a breath. When this happens, the hips and the legs sink and they slow down. Breathing less often makes people swim faster, until it doesn't. Breathing less often increases the urge to breathe. So when you finally take a breath, you spend more time breathing. This slows you down even more. The solution is to breathe less air, but more often. Even if you can hold your breath for longer, don't. Make yourself breathe more often. This way, your breath is shorter and faster. Breathe less amount of air. Just a small, fast exhale and a small, fast inhale. This way, you will get rid of enough CO2 and you get enough oxygen. Try to keep the front of your head pointing straight, not up. Just get your chin above the surface and that will be enough to breathe fast. If you do this correctly, you won't run out of breath so quickly. You will be able to hold your breath for longer during the flip turn and the underwater dolphin kicks. If you breathe every 3 or 4 strokes, you will gasp for air every time you breathe, especially at the end when you're trying to swim fast. Yes, we want to be able to hold our breath for a long time. That is something you will build up with time. But unless you are doing breathing exercises or the 50 freestyle, breathe less air more often. Not everything is perfect when you breathe every 2 strokes. There are 2 problems. One is another myth, and the other is a true problem. If you breathe every 2 strokes in freestyle, you will always breathe to one side. People say that this causes imbalances in your body. But listen, I always try to breathe to both sides, and my spine is a little crooked, and my left arm and hip are always tighter than the right. Breathing bilaterally will not help you have a balanced body. The exercises I will teach you later will. The other problem is that you won't be as coordinated. This is true. So try to breathe to the opposite side during warm-up and warm-down, and sometimes during the main set. For backstroke, the same is true. You breathe often while keeping air in your lungs for buoyancy and stability. Breathe less air more often. Same thing in butterfly and breaststroke. The air in your lungs is precious and will give you buoyancy and stability. By the way, when you grow up, you make swimming videos for a living. It is not easy, but it is the best job in the world. A lot of people watch them. Some of your most popular ones are about breathing, and you will create some confusion with this advice. Everyone else will tell people to exhale as soon as the face is underwater. That is because they are talking to very beginners who don't know how to exhale underwater, or to expert swimmers. These expert swimmers manage to exhale the smallest amount of air under their bodies, supposedly to reduce friction with the water. Most people who are in the middle need to hold the air inside the lungs and just breathe out quickly before the head comes out. In school, during class, or when you're bored, try to silently breathe in for 5 seconds and breathe out for 6. You'll understand why much later, but it will help you in school and during the underwater dolphin kicks. Oh, and during your next swim practice, when you do the bubbling exercise, exhale as slowly as possible or hold it and then exhale fast before taking your next breath. Don't hyperventilate, meaning don't breathe in and out a lot of air fast, like this. That's bad. There's a lot more about breathing that I want to say, but I also have to tell you the other 4 things that will completely transform your swimming skills. Remember, breathe less air more often. In 2011, you will watch Michael Phelps swim in person. Oh, wait, you don't even know who he is yet. Remember how your grandma is always telling you that betting is a bad vice? Your grandma is smart. Listen to her. Except if you are betting on Michael Phelps. 9 out of 10 times you will win that bet. Maybe more. The first time you see him swim, one phrase will come to your mind. Like a knife through butter. By this point, you thought you were a decent swimmer. But this changes your perception again. You thought swimming was about moving your arms as fast as possible. That is called fighting the water. Some people call this smoothness having a good feel for the water. That phrase is very confusing and it will not help you. So I'll give you this new phrase. Think with your body. In general, the more time a person spends in the water, the better they glide through it. For example, today when you swam, it looked like you were drowning. It wasn't just that you didn't know how to breathe. It was that your hips sunk and you were almost vertical. Instead of gliding horizontally through the water, you were diagonal trying to move forward. Imagine this piece of paper is your body. If you blow air, the paper bends and it is hard to move it forward. If your body is horizontal, the paper stays flat and it is easier to move. If your hips and legs sink, then the water will crush into your body and you will start fighting the water. You will eventually get better at this with hours and years of practice. But even in your 20s, when you get tired, your hips sink. We can correct this mistake faster while also having fun. It is true that some people float more easily than others, but just to prove that anyone can float almost completely horizontal, I did this crazy experiment that you should not do. I tied heavy metal chains on my fins and tried swimming like that. Of course, my legs went to the bottom immediately, but I managed to keep myself horizontally balanced while swimming. I swam backstroke, freestyle, and even butterfly with metal chains attached. This balance skill is the most complex of all the 5 skills, but it is also the most fun to improve. You control your balance with your legs, your arms, your head, and even your torso. There are many small details about the technique that influences your balance in the water, like a clean hand entry. This is where a lot of advice gets confusing, but instead of focusing on the small details, I want you to focus on the big picture. This will give you more clarity. The small details will get better with practice and feedback. You will always have fun trying to fix those small details. Do you remember in school how easy it is to read English, but harder to speak it out loud? You first need to think about the words in Spanish and then remember how to say them in English. It sounds like you are a robot. It doesn't flow out of your mouth as well as Spanish does. You eventually fix this by thinking in English. So what does that have to do with swimming? You might ask. Well, in order to flow through the water, you need to think with your body instead of with your mind. Stay with me. It will make sense. Your body can move quicker and with more precision than your thoughts. The brain is divided into thoughts that you are aware of and reactions that are hidden even from you. For example, remember how you burned your tongue with soup and made a mess? If you had thought about it, it would have taken longer for you to react and take the spoon out, but your body acted faster than your conscious thoughts. Your body reacts faster than your thoughts, but reacting is not enough for swimming and for other sports. We need to train the body to react with better movements. This is what we call thinking with the body. It is not as fast as your raw reactions, but it is also not as slow as your thoughts. It is right in between. It is thinking with your body. The body needs repetition to think fluidly like this. The problem is that most of us train our bodies to move faster and faster, or for longer and longer distances. We never stop and feel the water and learn how to balance. So it normally takes years and years to stop fighting the water. We learn balance the hard way, as a secondary effect of practice. Some coaches only know how to measure distance and time. They say swim for 100 meters in 1 minute. But they never say stop, learn to move better, learn to make your legs float. Sometimes this is exactly what the swimmer needs. Swimming is divided in 3 main struggles: the struggle to breathe, the struggle to make your legs float, and the struggle to move forward. We covered the first struggle with the first pillar. To improve this second struggle, let's do this. You know that small swimming pool outside? You will spend many hours there with your friends playing after practice. I want you to spend even more hours playing, teaching your body how to think in the water. I have many balancing games like swimming backwards or swimming underwater, but they might be either too complicated or too boring for you and your friends. I actually made a whole course on balance. Balance actually starts inside your ear. But never mind, we don't have enough space for that. Remember when you watched the Olympics? Remember the synchronized swimmers? Today, they are called artistic swimmers. They are so good at balance that their legs not only stay perfectly flat on the surface, but they can also come out of the water. In the future, you will help people from all over the world swim better. The people that are the easiest to correct are divers, water polo players, and artistic swimmers. Those people have played with balance in the water the longest. This is the challenge for you and your friends. Try to get your legs out of the water, play water polo, and fill your lungs with air and try to push your head underwater. You will eventually find, through play, that the air in your chest is what helps you keep your legs balanced horizontally. At least once every week, forget about moving forward. Play in the water a lot until it becomes as easy as walking. When that happens, it means that you have learned to think with your body. In your time, people call it abs. Then they will realize that there are many more muscles in your torso than just the rectus abdominis, so they will start calling it core. But even in 2023, most of the core exercises that people recommend are not very useful for swimmers. I will tell you 3 exercises that will change your life. In 1996, a couple in Florida had their 3rd baby. All of their children will swim, but this 3rd one will be one of the best swimmers in history. In 2021, just before his 24th birthday, he will win 5 Olympic gold medals. Yeah, the Olympics will not be held in 2020. They will be in 2021. I don't have space on this book to explain the reason why. But now that you know, I guess I can tell you to buy a couple of dumbbells and kettlebells before the year 2020. You will use them a lot. This guy named Caleb Dressel will change swimming forever. He's going to be the first very muscular, successful swimmer after the supersuit era. You won't be able to afford one of those, don't worry. Who lifts weights very seriously. He can squat almost 180 kilos and hand snatch 100 kilos. All this because he has the most powerful legs. He does it because he has the most powerful and mobile core muscles of anyone in the pool. That is one extreme example. But because of your swimming videos, you will meet other amazing people to learn from. One is this 73-year-old strong swimmer. He has a strong core. And this is the strength we want when we are his age. But he lacks mobility and control. Then, there is this other gentleman who has amazing control of his core and can swim butterfly gracefully in his 60s. That means if you start now, you can maintain a high level of core strength and control for most of your life. Right now, you don't know how to move your spine correctly in the water. Your lack of strength makes your legs sink and swing from side to side with each stroke. Then you will spend years trying to do dolphin kicks faster, but instead of using your core, you will only use your legs. You will try to bend and extend the knees as fast as possible, trying to move fast. But that is a waste of energy. In all the other strokes, your lack of core strength and control makes you waste a ton of energy. This is why you get unnecessarily tired. The middle part of your body has a lot of organs that are soft. You also don't have a lot of bones in this area. It is just your spine. In order to protect it, we have muscles around it. Think of it like a water bottle. The core muscles are the plastic of the bottle. The stronger this plastic is, the more protected the inside. The air inside the bottle is also important to make the bottle stable. If there is very little air, then the bottle is easy to crush. If there's plenty of air, the bottle is stronger. This is why at the beginning of the book, I told you to never let all the air out of your lungs when you're swimming. The air inside your lungs will make you float better and will keep your body more stable with less effort. A lot of the core exercises people recommend are for creating pressure on this part of your body. A plank is the classic core exercise. This is an okay exercise to begin with. These types of exercises are easy to find, but I will give you 3 secret weapons that almost no one is doing, especially not swimmers. These 3 will give you the strongest core of any swimmer your age, even when you're 90. A lot of people will tell you that it is bad to bend the spine like this. And sure, if your spine is stiff and weak, any movement could be dangerous. Your spine is not stiff, but it is weak. That is why we will start slowly. The danger is doing something that surpasses the capacity of your joint. Don't be afraid of moving your spine. Be afraid of not moving it. Be afraid of having weak or tight core muscles. When you swim, you flex and extend your spine quickly every time you do flip turns and dives. You twist it and bend it when you swim freestyle and backstroke. When you swim breaststroke and butterfly, flexing and extending is what makes you swim fast. Just like with the other 2 chapters, I have an entire course on core, but it doesn't fit in here. So I will give you just the 3 exercises that will make the most impactful change to your swimming. The first one is to teach your brain how to move your spine like the best swimmers. The other 2 are to create strength in core muscles so that you can move your spine quickly. The first exercise is called cat-cow, but Dr. Peter Attia has made modifications that are perfect for our purpose. It feels more like a snake than a cat-cow. You can start with the cat pose and then begin to flex your spine section by section. You can start with your neck all the way to your sacrum. This is the cat pose. Now come back to the cow in the opposite way that you started. Do this for 2 minutes. This is an excellent way to gain control over your spine. The spine can move in 6 different ways, but we will just focus on 2 right now, flexion and extension. For flexion, we will basically try to lift our legs as high as possible for as long as possible. You can do this on the floor, or on a bench, or hanging. You can start on easy mode with just one leg. Then you could also lift your body in an L sit like this. Hold it as long as possible. You can rest and do them again. Do them until you can't lift your legs anymore. Don't do them more than twice a week. For extension, you will try to lift either your head or your legs as high as possible, or both as high as possible while on your stomach. You can do this on the floor, on a back extension machine, or on a bench. I just realized something. In 1997, kids are not allowed in the gym. You can do this on the ground for now. As you get stronger, maybe you can join a gymnastics class during the weekends. Or maybe you can save up and buy gymnastics rings. There, you can practice lifting your legs up for flexion and extension. Yeah, I know. You will also need a lot of arm strength to do this one. That is why I wrote this next chapter. You will swim against much taller, much stronger looking swimmers in your life. Like unbelievably muscular and tall compared to your skinny self. Most of those big guys are going to be slower than you. You will think that it is because you have a better swimming technique. That is sometimes true, but not always. A lot of the time, it is because you are stronger than them. Not visible strength, but another type of strength. When you turn 18 years old, you'll be recruited to swim for the university in the USA. Your second year, all the teams in the region will create a series of tests and will share the results. I remember the pull-up test. I think they were strict about it. No kipping or swinging, arms completely extended, chin above the bar, as many strict pull-ups as you can do. I'm sorry to tell you that your pull-up test was not impressive. It was in the mid-20s, but there was one really impressive score. For reference, the average female athlete can do 3 pull-ups. The average male athlete can do 6. A 7-year-old swimmer should be able to do at least 3, but a teenager is considered elite if they can do more than 21 or more than 15 if they're females. The score that was impressive was also the fastest swimmer in your area. He could do 93 pull-ups. No one was even close. The second place was 38. I had never seen that guy, but I thought, he must be a very strong dude. When I saw him, I couldn't believe it. He looked just as skinny as you did. A lot taller, but how was that possible? How was he so strong, but looked very skinny? Here is what I found in one book. Relative strength refers to an individual's strength in relation to their body weight. For example, if 2 people can both lift 200 pounds, but one weighs 150 pounds and the other weighs 200 pounds, the lighter person has a greater relative strength. This concept is important in sports where strength needs to be optimized in relation to the body weight, such as gymnastics, wrestling, or swimming. In swimming, the size of the muscles is not as important as how much force they can produce. Some of the best swimmers in the world look skinny and others look muscular. If they're swimming at an Olympic final, it doesn't matter how they look. They are incredibly strong. Some are genetically strong and others have to work twice as hard to be this strong. You, my friend, are not genetically strong. Even though you will swim a lot in the next 15 years, your shoulders are relatively weak. You know how you're always fighting with your little brother? Always punching each other? This will continue for the next 7 to 8 years. Your mom, sick of all the fighting and unable to stop it, will just put in one rule. She'll say, you can punch each other in the face, but just stop punching your shoulders. You won't be able to swim if you continue injuring your shoulders. And she's right. Eventually, the punching stops altogether. You and your little brother start a business together, but your shoulder injuries continue because they're weak. When you're underwater, your core and your legs are what move your body fast. But when you're swimming on the surface, it is in big part the power of your arms that moves you forward. A lot of swimming will get your shoulder stronger in the internal rotation of the shoulder. Internal rotation is the outside of your shoulder in towards your body, but the lack of external rotation strength and supporting scapular muscles will always be weak if you don't train them outside of the pool. Even with injuries, because you swim a lot, you will eventually become faster. Puberty will also make you stronger and faster. But why wait all those years and why endure all those unnecessary injuries? I will give you a shortcut to relative super strength and injury resistant shoulders. The shoulder is not just one joint, it is made out of 4 joints. It is very complex. And because of this, there are many exercises you can do, especially as you grow older and you are allowed to enter the gym. As you probably guessed, I made a whole course on arms. I even explained in detail the most important stretch to achieve a high elbow swim. But I am running out of space in this chapter. The only thing that separates you from being as strong as Olympians are repetitions. If you do enough pull-ups or rows or enough push-ups or dips, you will be strong enough to swim at any level. The real good news is that you only need rings and a stretch band to achieve this. Rings might be your biggest return on investment of your life. Do as much pulling as pushing. As you're saving money to buy them, you could do rows and push-ups. When you get them, start with the easy things first. Ring rows and ring push-ups. Give enough recovery time to your shoulders. Then work towards the dips and pull-ups. Then muscle-ups. On this movement, you have the push and the pull in one exercise. Since you have so many years to work on this, I think you can eventually master the front and back lever. There are also steps to do that. Just wait for YouTube to be invented and start watching those tutorials ASAP. If you do get injured, the physical therapist will recommend you to do some kind of external rotation with a dumbbell or with a stretch band. If they will tell you to do this anyways, why wait? Do many of them as warm-up before practice. Push-pull with rings and external rotations with bands and then small weights. Those are the 3 big movements. These 4 chapters are enough to make anyone a great swimmer. But if you want to be the best swimmer possible, there is still one thing missing. This is the one thing that people seem to hate more than holding their breath. And since most people hate it, it can give you the biggest advantage. If you have made it this far, you are worthy of the best advice I have ever encountered. Of course, you need to breathe correctly so you can float and balance your body horizontally. Once you have a sense of horizontal balance and you're able to think with your body, you can develop your spine movements and speed. At this point, you will be able to position your body properly in the water so that the arms can pull it fast. But even with all of those 4 skills developed, you still won't be the best swimmer possible. From your second date onward, swimming becomes the most important skill in your life. You will think about swimming most of your waking hours. You will make drawings and paintings and videos about swimming. You will read many books about swimmers and coaches. You will stare for hours and analyze frame by frame the most successful swimmers. You will try to replicate their technique in the water. You will film yourself over and over and over again. You will read about anatomy, physical therapy, physiology, self-development, peak performance. You will talk to anyone that is faster and try to learn from them. And then, one day, in 2022, you will find the missing piece of the puzzle. At the beginning, it is easier to learn to swim without using your legs too much. One of your most popular videos will be about how to swim with just 1 kick per stroke. There will be debates about whether kicking is important or not, but almost no one will talk about the feet. Here's something that an adult will tell you and that you will believe for the next 23 years. You cannot gain flexibility, you can only maintain it. Since he's an adult, you will believe it. There's no reason to question it. Fake news is not something you're familiar with. Adults, it turns out, don't know everything. Even the experts in one subject, and especially them, keep learning new things. Always be skeptical, especially when someone tells you a limiting belief. You're flexible, but you don't spend too much time stretching because you mistakenly think that there's no way to gain flexibility. It is only through years and years of kicking in the water, with fins and without, that you develop decent ankle and foot flexibility. With each degree you gain in plantar flexion, your swimming skills improve. Unfortunately, this is probably the longest route to ankle flexibility that anyone can take. It is okay. That is how swimmers usually develop it. But imagine if you develop incredible ankle flexibility in 5 years instead of 10. Imagine how much far ahead you would be by the time you turn 12. Your future might look entirely different. Instead of you watching the video of the first time you competed in the US, the guy who beat you could have been just as confused trying to figure out how you swam much faster than him. In the future, you will have access to a lot of free information. A lot of it is going to be useless advice and limiting beliefs, but there will be other ones that will bust myths with undeniable proof. Regarding flexibility, you will learn from 4 such people: Ben Patrick, Keegan Smith, David Turin, and Kadur Siani. These two, Ben and Keegan, will change how coaches and athletes think about the relationship between flexibility and strength. The other two will blow your mind with the true power of the feet. After learning from them and incorporating a foot and ankle routine to your life, at 33, your feet will be the most flexible and powerful they have ever been. I have a course with exercises for the entire leg, not just the feet. But again, I can't fit it in here. So here is some advice for your feet. For swimming, you need flexibility and control on every toe. That is why you start this routine with the most frustrating exercise in the world. Stand on the 4 corners of your feet. These should stay on the ground at all times. Lift all of your toes up, then put only the big toe down. Then do the opposite. You will struggle at the beginning, but continue. Eventually, it gets better. Do this for at least a minute. Then do ankle circles for another minute. Do them as wide as possible. Then put your knees on the ground while stretching your toes. Another minute there. Then sit on your ankles. Eventually, you will be able to lift your knees up. Push the ground with your toes. You can do this routine before going to sleep or as soon as you wake up. It takes 4 minutes. If you have time, you can even do it 2 or 3 times. Do it daily. Just don't push it too hard. If there's any pain, stop. There's a difference between discomfort and pain. Learn what it is. Eventually, this won't even cause discomfort. This will feel great. After you get flexible feet, kick as fast as possible. Your kick will now add to the speed of your arms. The faster you kick, the faster you swim. Before you close this book, I have to tell you the bad news. Everything I told you is useless unless you understand this. Nobody will teach you how to swim better. Not your coaches, not your friends, not even this book. Swimming is not very complex, but our bodies are. Our bodies are so complex that in the future we have put the knowledge of the entire world into machines to try to understand ourselves better. And it is still not enough. Our bodies remain the most advanced and versatile technology on the planet. Nobody teaches a baby how to walk. People don't give lectures to babies about how to move every muscle and how they work together. No one codes their brain. They learn to create complex neural connections through trial and error. We learn through incremental steps. Each accomplished step brings a cocktail of rewards to the brain. If somehow you lifted someone from the first to the last step without their effort, they will be stuck there forever. They will never climb higher because they didn't learn how to step up. Sometimes advice makes things worse, even if it's good advice at the wrong time. So, why did I send you this book? If learning on your own is better, why take the chance of giving bad advice or good advice at the wrong moment? The truth is that I almost didn't send it. Until I remembered that one event that changed my life forever. The 27th of July of 1997. This should be tomorrow for you. Your older brother's birthday. Spoiler alert, his birthday present is a new bike. I promise this lesson will come back to swimming. Hang on, this story is important. Your older brother already knew how to ride a bike because he had one before. And now he has two bikes. He wants a cycling buddy. But you were too small even for his old bike. Your younger brother was even smaller. So he asked Luigi, your cousin, if he wanted to ride with him. Luigi said that he didn't know how to ride a bike. Nando said, let's go outside. Riding a bike is easy. That is all Luigi needed to hear. We all went outside. You and Raul sat on the back of the pickup truck to watch the funniest thing you've ever witnessed. Nando gave Luigi the bike and said,